Let's start out with a big shout out to my boy Don from Reebok, hooking me up with these pretty damn shoes. Thanks for that, baby. Look at those Nano X shining and pretty out there. Woo! Alright, we're back at it. Welcome to another home workout. Today I have two coaches with me. It's gonna be Sanne and her imaginary friend. Just look at that. They're gonna show you 3 movements that kick off this beautiful session with a nice little warm up. Let's get ready and let's get started. Sanne and the imaginary friend, we're gonna start off with something that they call a switching squat. At least I call it that way, which simply means that you're gonna go through a series of air squats, so no external objects there. What you simply do is you switch your stance every repetition, and actually I don't want you to think about what you're doing with the stance. You push the feet out, you push the feet in, you drive the toes in, you drive the toes out. It doesn't really matter, it's about warming up the hips, warming up the knees, warming up the ankles. Let's call it warming up everything that we have. Now let's say that Sanne or the imaginary friend here has a knee injury. In that case, I still want you to go for switching stance, but you'll do good mornings here. So guys, this is an injury option for the squats. You're gonna good morning your way through here, hinge from the hip, sit your butt back, make sure pressure is in the heel, and switch the stance on every repetition that you do. In the warm-up, it'll be 12 of these. You can rest now for a second. Let's have a look at our second movement, which is standing on the plate, an alternating knee pull, which is a simple way of just warming up the hips, getting a little bit of glute stretch in there at the same time. Let's have a look at her. She's going to simply drive up a knee, pull it into the chest, bring it back down, switch legs on the way down. Boom. Now the idea here is to not bring your chest to your knee, but your knee to your chest. The silence was on purpose to get you guys to think about what I'm saying here. Very good. You can even do this if you have an injury because there's no loading on the joint whatsoever. We're just trying to warm up the hips. It's a nice feeling, specifically when you do this in the morning, which it is right now. And most of you are probably watching this in the morning as well. Now, third movement of the day, Sanne and imaginary friend, please go into a plank. We haven't done this one in all the months of recording the videos, and I'm going to talk for very long, so Sanne has to stay in her plank, and the imaginary friend, who is actually very good at planking. Look how flat that plank is. But still, what we're going to do here is instead of a regular shoulder tap, Sanne's going to start with the right arm. She's going to bring it all the way across, and you're going to try to touch the other shoulder. Yeah. Sanne, please show that you can actually touch your shoulder. That's good. Yeah. Now, if you're not able to do this, your back will probably be very dirty, because how are you working this in the shower when you're trying to wash your back? That's the big question of the day, right? So this is good practice for, this is what fitness makes very functional. How do you wash your back on a regular day? Nice, Sanne. So behind the neck, shoulder taps is our third movement in the warm-up. Now let's move on to actually doing the warm-up all together. It is time to get off that couch and join that warm-up with us. Sanne is ready. Imaginary friend is ready and moving perfectly, actually, when we demoed the movements. Hell yeah. Now, we have 12 reps of that switching stance squat, followed by 10 repetitions of an alternating knee pull, right? Which is 10 reps in total, not per leg. And then you do 8 reps of the behind the neck shoulder taps. We're going to roll that for 6 minutes in total. So you guys join us. Sanne is ready. The friend is ready. Let's do this all together and start this one in 10 seconds. We'll do a round with you guys, and then you guys need to continue on your own. And please move perfectly. Here it is. And my story got interrupted by the clock, which is terrible. Here we go. So Sanne is actually not thinking about what she's doing, which is something she's very good at. When you do this, guys, really think about sitting your hips on your heels. Try to get your entire feet to be pressed into the floor. Get your knees to really track your toes. If your toes are pointing in, it's okay if your knees are coming in as well. It's a nice way of warming up all the joints, and just focus on counting the reps while you're going through these. So she did 12 reps here. Now she goes into the knee pull, standing nice and upright, focusing on pulling that knee into the chest. So literally, you grab the knee, you stand, and then you pull it in, nice and high. Warming up the hips, stretching the glutes a tiny bit as well. Nice way of getting the body going for the intense workout that we have later. Everything with the back today in the workout. It's going to be a great session. Here we go. So 10 reps are done. She goes into her plank. A good prep for later with the mountain climbers. Reach over and touching the shoulder. Here we go. She is getting warmed up, guys. Can you see that? And now let's look at the imaginary friend for a second. Demoing this perfectly as well. Look at that. They're going in sync here together. That is perfect. Nice. Twisting all the way around. That is nice. Yeah. So Sanne did approximately around in a little over a minute. You probably can do about 4 rounds of these in 6 minutes. You guys keep going, keep moving perfectly, and we see you back in a second. Second portion of today's session is some mobility. We're going to work the hips and the ankles specifically with some sumo squat hold and some ankle stretches in there. Now, Sana is going to demo the movements for you before we actually start them, but she's also going to show you injury options, because even if you want to do some mobility and you have an injury, you should still be able to tag along with us. Imaginary friend is going to eventually show you all the injury options when we're running the take as well, which is very good to pay attention to. Now, first thing that we'll do is we're going to go into a sumo squat hold. Now, what means sumo? You can just go there, Sana, and sit there while I talk. Now, what's important here to realize, guys, is Sana is going to a squat that is wider than her regular stance. That's most important. And for her to determine where that is she want to be able to keep her knees on top of the ankle. So you don't want to have the knees tracking inwards because you go so wide. Yeah, that looks terrible. So when the knees is on top of the ankle, we should be happy. Hips are slightly more backwards. That is nice, sitting upright. I love this sumo squat. You can rest there, Sana, and go to the wall, please, for me. Now, an injury option where you can still practice that sumo hold, open up the hips, but take all the loading off the knees, is by doing this against the wall. So she's going to go to the wall with her butt. She's going to go in that wider stance, try to find her spot where she can have her lower back pressed into the floor and have her feet into the wall pressed in there. That's very nice. So still here, the same she's looking for is the knee being on top of the ankle the entire time. That is good. And now you can actually, using your hands and arms, force your knees out a bit more if you want to. Can you do that for me, Sana? So push your hands on top of your knees, drive them downwards to get a good stretch in the groin area as well. Great way of substituting when there's a knee injury. Now, let's have a look at the ankle stretch. The regular ankle stretch that we look for is a very simple one. We're going to kind of start in some sort of a lunge position, but it's all about getting as much of your body to lean on the front foot. So as you look at Sana here, there's lots of flexion in that ankle there. Now, most important, guys, in an ankle stretch is you got to stick your heel into the floor. So heels into the floor, and knee is perfectly tracking that toe, right? And we're going to hold this for like 30 seconds in the actual warm-up. Great way of stretching the ankle. Now, let's say that knee is really, really bothering us, and we still want to work on the ankles. In that case, you can do the same against the wall. You pressure toes into the wall. Try to get them as high as possible. Get your heel as close to the wall as possible. And then slowly press your leg over your toe into the wall. Here we go. To get as much flexion in that ankle as we can possibly get. We showed you the sumo squat hold. We showed you the ankle stretch. We showed you one side, but obviously it's going to be on 2 sides. Now, how are we going to do this portion? It's going to be the following way. You're going to set an interval timer. Use the smartwatch app, for example, at 9 intervals. 30 seconds of work. 15 seconds of rest. In the 30 seconds of work, you go from sumo squat to ankle stretch on the left to ankle stretch on the right. That's 3 intervals, 3 loops of that. We're going to do 1 loop with you guys, and then you're going to do the other 2 on your own. Now let's get ready, let's get started, and let's press that damn button and have a look at the movements. 3, 2, 1, and we're sitting in that sumo squat hold. Now what you, for example, can do is, since there are 3 rounds, every round you can go for a different stance. You can play around with the toes going either outwards or going a bit more forward. It gives you a different sensation if you talk about the stretch, right? We're halfway into that squat hold. It should not feel very, very comfortable. I'm going to be very honest with that, because you're in a challenged position, a position you would normally not do a squat in, right? All right, 3 more seconds, then we have that 15-second break. Ooh, let's stand up for a second, Sana. Ooh, that should feel very tough. Yeah, look at her. It's so tough. Imaginary friend is also having trouble. Sweat is coming off that poor man's face. Yeah, and sweat is not allowed, actually. 2, 1, here we go. Yeah, the government told us that sweating is not allowed, so we're going to experiment with a class with 5-minute intervals for doing 1 squat. People can still do strength training. All right, so we're doing that ankle stretch here, and what Sana's doing, like, perfectly, is just leaning with her entire body on top of that knee, getting that knee to track the toe, going forward as much as possible. If you have external objects like dumbbells or kettlebells, you can actually place them on top of the knee and press those down. Just keep your heel into the floor. And that's the train, ladies and gentlemen. I have 15 seconds to break. Get that ankle away. Get the other leg to be forward. Get that knee to track the toe. And then we're going to look at this for another 30 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1. Now really force the knee forward. Nice. Now press the body on top. Again, get that heel to be sticked into the floor. If you feel like the ankles feel very weird, and normally in your squat, your knees are caving in or are pressed out too much, maybe do this without wearing shoes. So you really make sure that your big toe, little toe, and heel are all pressed into the floor when you're trying to mobilize that ankle joint. Good. 3, 2, 1. So that was 1 round. It is 3 rounds in total. You guys do the 2 other ones, and then we'll meet you back in a minute or so to start on the actual workout of today. It is time to start on the intense part of today's session, the workout, right? We're going a long workout with 3 beautiful movements, but first of all, you need a backpack, and you need to load that baby up. Now, normally, I would advise you guys on using different materials for this workout. For this specific workout, I need loading to be on the back. So just go for a bag and just put all the dumbbells and plates you have in the back and hope that it survives the workout. Now, let's look at the 3 movements that we will do today, and we will provide you with scaling options for injuries. Of course, the first one, and Sanne has her backpack strapped to her back, nice and tight. She's going to go into a plank here, long arms. Now, in this portion here, what she's going to do is simple. She's going to pull the knee in forward, go back, and get the other knee in. Now, this is a nice, slow-paced mountain climber. And you can try to show different paces here, Sanne. And if you look at her, with the bag on top, she needs to keep her hips in line with the shoulder. So it's actually forcing you to keep your butt down, because otherwise the bag is going to be pushed to your head here. Beautiful mountain climbers. And maybe now you remember why we did alternating knee pulls in the warm-up. Do you remember? She remembers. I hope you guys remember. Our second movement is going to be a squat, and I can now actually call it a back squat. Fuck yeah, I can do that. Beep, yeah, I can do that. Here we go. She's going to a regular squat stand, not the sumo one. Her ankles are nice and warmed up. Her hips are nice and warmed up. She's going to go nice and deep in the squat, sit upright. Now, while she's going through this, I'm looking at her butt going on top of the heels. I'm looking at her knee tracking the toes, and I'm looking at her heel, big toe and little toe all being pressed into the floor while sitting nice and upright. Beautiful squats by Sanne. Now, Sanne, let's have a look at the following. You're injured. Your knee hurts. What I want you to do is go in the same stance. Give me a slight knee bend. Just soften the knee, and now start hinging from that hip. Yeah, grab the straps of the bag. That's nice. Keep the bag strapped to the body, and she's pushing her butt back, keeping the knee on top of the ankle, right? Loading up those hamstrings, then squeezing her butt on the way up, and get a nice good morning going. And with the bag loaded on top of the body there on the back, you got a great stimulus in the hamstrings, in the glutes, and even in the lower back. Thanks, Sanne. That's an injury option. Third movement, looking forward to this one, is going to be a push-up, but with the additional loading of the back, which is going to make it a great strength portion in today's session. So, Sanne has her back strapped. She's going to go into her push-up stance, same as with the mountain climber, basically. She's going to just slowly sit down there and jump up. Here we go. And push up. Nice. Now, she has to move like a plank. So, butt and shoulders go at the same time, and she moves all the way in a plank. Beautiful push-ups here. Nice. You can rest for a second. Now, what we will do is show you an option for the injury. And the injury option we will provide you with is, let's say that something hurts that does not allow you to do that full range of motion push-up. Now, we're still going to keep the bag in there. We're still going to load the shoulders a tiny bit, but we're going to make it slightly different. So what she's going to do, she's going to go in a plank again. Now, one at a time, I want her straight arm to be lifted forward. Hold for a second. Boom. Come back down. That's 1. That's 2. And you just substitute a front raise with the arm for a push-up. The wider the legs, the easier. Can you narrow the stance a bit for me, Sanne? That's wider, that's good. This is very tough. Squeezing your butt as hard as you can to not tip sideways. Beautiful. We showed you 3 movements that we're going to combine in the actual workout. How it's going to flow is the following way. We have a 15-minute AMRAP with 30 reps of the mountain climber, 20 reps of the squat, and then 10 reps of the push-up. And for the entirety of the workout, insert backpack. Right? That's what we're going to do. So Sanne is going to do a round with you guys. You need to come off that couch, join us in this little workout here, and let's have some fun together, get a good burn going. Sanne, you ready? Imaginary friend, you ready? Ready. 10 seconds. Let's wait in silence. All right, let's move. 30 mountain climbers. Now, I wouldn't go too hot out of the gates on this little piece here because it's 15 minutes long and it will become pretty damn tough. This is one of those workouts where you just want to get a nice and solid pace and keep moving throughout the entire 15-minute time frame. there's not really a reason to break stuff up. So take your breaks in between the movements and make sure you can keep everything unbroken. Yeah, I would love to see you just hold on to that back to get it in a nice and solid position. And obviously it's not as comfortable as a barbell would be, but it is as comfortable as the back can be. Yeah, exactly. Sun is running behind on her imaginary friend, who's about 2 reps ahead of her. She's probably going to speed up the squats for that. Here we go. And now they're equal again. That's very good to see. She's going to go into her push-up stance here. She's going to start doing some push-ups. Here we go. It's a 10 rep push-up here. Now, if you feel like you're in the need to break this up, start doing that early, right? Start doing that early. Ideally, you can hit them unbroken, but if not, you can start early on that. Now, the good thing here is after the push-ups, you need to switch to the mountain climbers. And that's a tough switch because you're still in that plank, right? And that's going to make it very tough on the shoulder. Now, it took a little over a minute to get through a round. You're not going to hit 15 rounds, I'm going to be honest. But if you can hit 10 to 12 rounds, it is going to be great. So big shout out to Sanne. Big shout out to the imaginary friend. See you guys back tomorrow.